Dhaka is world's most densely populated city with a population of about 15 million people. There are about 30,500 people living per square kilometer. The situation is even worse in the slums. Meet Shaheen, age 9. His parents are illiterate and he lives with his sister in a one-room tin house in the slums of Dhaka. Shaheen represents one child among 39,200 that this project would immediately impact through a partnership with 100 public schools within the Dhaka slums. Over 10 years, this project will impact 78,000 children. We know our methods work. Our literacy program has been able to make a difference in the lives of more than 167,000 children, with the results to prove that our program's producing better readers. Please join us to launch a program in Dhaka and transform the lives of the thousands of children and generations to come.
Shaheen's story from Bangladesh is a great example of the transformative power of education for a child growing up in a difficult circumstance. We founded Room to Read on exactly that belief. World change starts with education. That if you could reach children at an early age in their local communities with higher quality education, you could empower them to grow up and reach their full potential in life and contribute positively to the world around them. Yet this is not the world that we live in now. The reality is that nearly 800 million people are illiterate. That's 1 out of 7 people on the planet. 98% of them live in developing countries. 2/3 of them are women and girls. Yet we know, as you're hearing here tonight, that education is a game changer, that it can be a cornerstone solution to so many of the world's issues. So we're focused on trying to get out there and understand how can we help these communities and how can we do it at a cost-effective price point to be able to scale it up within the government system. I care about education and educational quality because I know that we as a world can rally around this issue. In fact, we already have in many ways by addressing access to education, which we've driven down over the last couple of decades and cut it in half, and only 120 million people and children don't have access to primary school now. We can, with concerted effort, also address the issue of educational quality, which is a huge issue now. 250 million children, that's 40% of the primary age-going children, cannot read or write by grade 3, despite the fact that they go to school. This is an important milestone because if children fail to learn to read or write by grade 3, they're likely never to catch up. So with Room to Read, we are focused on addressing this issue. So what is it like to be Shaheen and start primary school in Dhaka? How likely is it that he'll become literate and obtain a quality education? Well, as you can see from the video, the odds are stacked against him. It's likely that his school system will fail him. So we're focused on addressing this through our literacy program. I'm only going to focus on our literacy program tonight. We have a girls' education program as well at Room to Read, but we are eager to get all of you engaged on our model to try to adapt our rural model in Bangladesh into the urban area of Dhaka. So with our literacy program, the way that we address this solution is by focusing on improving the school into a learning and literate environment. We're focused on how do we support teachers, which are critical to equation, as you've heard so many times tonight. We provide them better curriculum, on-site training, additional training workshops for them to attend, because we know that they are critical in a child's learning experience, and yet they're woefully undertrained, overburdened, underpaid, and in so many ways, the system is broken. And so we're giving them better tools. We focus on our reading and writing instruction in grade 1 and 2, because those teachers are critical to getting these children lifted off as like an airplane going, that extra boost at the beginning for their reading acquisition. Then we use this powerful tool called a school library. It's a tool that probably all of you had access to at some point growing up, but most children in the low-income countries that we're working in don't. We're focused on helping to provide better materials in those libraries and in supporting the librarians to become vibrant teachers and engage the students actively in the libraries. Many of the books in the libraries are actually published by Room to Read because we train authors and illustrators on best practices in creating children's literature. So I'm super proud that we've been able to do this, not just in one school like Shaheen's, not even 100 schools in one country, but that we've reached scale and impact. Room to Read now, since our 15 years, has been able to scale into over 17,000 government schools across 10 countries in Asia and Africa already, Bangladesh being one of them. We now train on average over 10,000 teachers in our network, and we reach 1 million new students every year with our programs. This year is actually an exciting year because we're celebrating our 10 million child impact with better quality education since our founding 15 years ago. I'm a corporate refugee. I started out my career in Goldman Sachs and then moved to international business operations with Unilever and was able to see firsthand working in Vietnam for Unilever that you could absolutely break the cycle of poverty in one generation if children could be educated and into their workforce. So many of us are this hybrid of both the for-profit and the nonprofit at Room to Read and have been able to scale. But more important than anything are our incredible country teams like you saw Rocky and Bangladesh. All of our staff are country nationals, local nationals, delivering the program, working with the teachers and the school administration. So what systemic change have we seen? Well, we measure all of our programs. In our reading writing programs, we're looking at words per minute a child is reading in a government school with our program compared to a controlled government school without our program. In Bangladesh, we've already worked in over 140 schools in rural areas, and we know that children by end of grade 2 are reading 12 words per minute more in Bangla than in their control schools, peer schools. So we know that this program works, but we need to get out there, we need to be able to adapt the model and challenge ourselves to do that within the Dhaka school system. You know, Room to Read at the heart of it has monitoring evaluation in our DNA from very beginning. We've prioritized and invested in it. And entrepreneurship and innovation is what we're constantly thinking and challenging ourselves about. So challenging ourselves to think about the urban model is really important. We've also launched our newest innovation called Room to Read Accelerator, which allows us to take our lessons of these new approaches and partner with governments directly for them to adopt our educational programs in their own school systems or train our implementing partners on scaling up the work themselves. So what we're here tonight to get all of you engaged in is how can we adopt our rural model in Bangladesh into the urban center where students like Shaheen are eager and ready to learn and to take that model through Room to Read Accelerator and grow it into more and more cities around the world. Urbanization is one of the biggest social issues facing us this century. And there is great need out there for Room to Read's programs. But we have to rally together to eradicate illiteracy, which we can do in our lifetime if we're able to take models like ours and partner with other organizations and governments and scale them even faster. The reality is that we know, like Nelson Mandela said, that education is one of the most powerful tools that you can use to change the world. So we hope that you'll join us in taking the model into 100 primary schools in Dhaka, which will immediately impact over the next 3 years, 40,000 students approximately, and over the next 10 years, 78,000 students, with improved child-friendly, literate learning environments based on student-centered approaches, supporting the government in scaling the work. So I hope that you'll join us in eradicating illiteracy and creating the free and equitable world through education that we all know that we want to live in. Thank you so much. Yes.
That was really wonderful. Thanks very much. I was just wondering what was the moment that you realized that this is what you wanted to do? What was the catalyst, the defining moment that made you think this is what I want to do, going forward?
So I lived in Vietnam for Unilever for 3 years, and that experience was very game-changing for me because I saw firsthand, as I was saying, that we were bringing incredible economic investment into the country with Unilever as a foreign direct investment company. And yet what we needed to do is ensure that we really were able to ensure that the market was ready for this investment. And a key part of that is being able to have an educated population that can benefit and grow from the economic development. And education is absolutely the game changer in that. So that really inspired me working and volunteering in schools in Vietnam myself. And that's sort of what led me to leave my for-profit career and move into the nonprofit career. Yes, another question. Yes.
Given the social challenges that we find on a more local level, Bayview, for example, some of the things that we've heard earlier tonight, how do you motivate and entice people to look beyond either a local or national level and look to a small country far from here, and particularly a singular city in that country?
So I think one of the things that we always talk about is it shouldn't be an either or, right? If you look at your investment portfolio, you probably have companies that you're investing in that are domestic ones and are international ones, and there's different diversifications. And we really think your philanthropic portfolio should do the same. And in fact, if you look at the results that we're able to achieve globally at a lower cost point, we're reaching more children with higher quality programs given just the systems that we, and the investments that we're able to make in those countries. So it can be quite impactful. So we do think that people should sort of broaden and look at the, at the independent world we live in and how to contribute. But I also think that what we're looking at is being able to scale this model in a city like Dhaka, but Room to Read's kind of prime motivations are that we're great at innovating, piloting, and then scaling up. And we've proven that over and over again to be able to reach the scale that we're talking about now. We're one of the fastest growing nonprofits in international education, started this century. We're only 15 years old and yet reaching 10 million children already. And so we're really, I think, have that ability to scale. And so even though it's starting in Dhaka with this urban model of our proven kind of rural model into an urban center, we're very excited to then take that and grow it globally to greater impact. Thank you so much.